Hello everyone and welcome back to LewisNews, your #1 YouTube channel for all types of Spider-Man news from the movies, the games, and the shows. And in today's video, we are going to be covering Venom 3, once again, Venom doing the rounds recently, and another rumor regarding the villain of that film. But before we get to that, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop with all types of Spider-Man news. That is the movies, the games, and the TV shows, like I said at the start of the video. With that being said, let's get straight into the rumor. So once again, take this with a pinch of salt, like I do say about every rumor or leak that we cover on the channel, simply because it hasn't been confirmed by Marvel Studios nor Sony Pictures themselves. But once again, this is a rumor and a leak from the Twitter account Spider Culture, who we've been following very closely over the last few weeks. They have been reporting on some pretty cool stuff, I won't lie, and this is what we're going to be covering today. So as you can see on the screen, it says, rumor, Null is set to make an appearance in Venom 3. And this is absolutely insane, because if Null is set to be the villain or one of the villains of the third Venom film, that would be turning absolutely everything up to 100. Now, for those of you that don't really know who Null is, I'm going to give you a little description of Null from the Marvel fandom website, as I usually do with these things, because they can explain it in a very short amount of time, far better than I ever could. So I'm going to read you this little paragraph here from the Marvel fandom website, and then we'll talk about what this could possibly mean for Venom 3. So they say, Null is an eldritch god of darkness and the creator of the symbiotes. Born from the primordial void that existed between the 6th and the 7th cosmos, Null claims dominion over the void and to be its avatar. But while he is a god of the void, he is not the primordial darkness itself. Awakened by the light when the Celestials invaded his kingdom of darkness, he created the first symbiote in the form of a sword and decapitated a Celestial. He used the head's divine power to refine the blade, creating a metaphysical connection between the primordial symbiote and the slain cosmic god, which would be the source of most of Null's tremendous power. Waging war against the light, Null became a legendary figure of divine terror, but eventually found himself stranded on a nameless planet after an inhabitant stole his blade and unwittingly followed in his footsteps. Experimenting with his powers, Null discovered he could create amorphous parasites from the darkness he controls and merge them with lesser creatures, so he decided to use this as a way to corrupt the light. So obviously this explains the origin of all symbiotes and how the symbiotes actually work, in which is something we haven't really explored in any kind of live action movie to this date. We've got Venom from Spider-Man 3, we had the first and the second Venom film, but there never really has been any lore explored with the symbiotes in the Sonyverse, past just they are aliens from another planet, and it just turns out that there is loads of them. Obviously, there was some exploration of depth in the first Venom film, how we learned that Venom himself was actually, quote-unquote, a loser on his planet, and he was probably one of the beta males, if you could call it that. And Riot was like one of the alphas. But if Null is to be the villain in Venom 3, how would this actually work? Well, the way I see it happening is Null's backstory to be explained. But obviously they can't use the Celestials in this story, as the Celestials are obviously owned by Marvel Studios. But once they get around that and adhere to the story in different ways, I assume they'd probably go with the story that Null will invade Earth and try and corrupt lesser creatures with the symbiote. Obviously the whole reason of the symbiote's creation in the first place was a response to the light. So I assume Null would use some sort of symbiote army to corrupt the people of Earth. And it would be Venom's mission to stop Null from taking over the entire planet. And obviously this would really work and tap into the whole idea of the human side of Venom as well, since Eddie Brock represents the humanity of Venom, and then obviously the Venom symbiote represents the inner darkness, and kind of like the id and the ego, the Jekyll and Hyde type of thing. And I think they could play more around with what it means to be a symbiote and what it means to be a human, and how Eddie and Venom have influenced each other over the years that they've been together. Potentially we could explore the idea of how Eddie has shown Venom how to tap into humanity more and kind of be more of an empathetic person. And I think pairing him up with someone like Null, who is there just purely to take over an entire planet of quote-unquote lesser creatures, would bode really well and just show how far Eddie and Venom have come as a symbiotic relationship. And if Null is set to appear, I think that's probably how they would use him. At least that's how I would go about making that story. But tell me in the comment section down below, what would you do if you had the ability to put Null in the next Venom film? Do you think it's too early to introduce a character like Null, or do you think the time is just about right? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, make sure to hit a like on this video if you did enjoy, and also make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all types of Spider-Man leaks, rumors, news, the lot of it, from the movies, the games, and the shows, like I did say at the start of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care, and peace.